All right. Yo, yo, yo.
What's up?
We live.
We live on
Live,
a
man.
Sunday.
On a Sunday. Welcome, everyone, to Deep Dishing Sports.
Yes,
This is
yes.
episode 4. We racking them up.
Number
We
4.
haven't taken no breaks yet.
Not yet.
hopefully, hopefully it'll be a while before
I know.
we take another small hiatus.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. Some stuff has happened with
Mhm.
our beloved Chicago Bears this week. They are moving pretty quickly
Man. Whew.
with the hiring process. Everyone was like, "This is taking too long. What's happening? And how come there's no news? How come?" And now we filling up the coaching staff, and it's just crazy.
It is. It
But
is.
we'll talk about our reactions and our thoughts to those hires. We got also a special guest
Uh-oh.
going to be joining the show today.
Yeah.
It's not her first time joining the show, but we will have Niners and Warriors super fan joining the show. Sha,
She's a Warriors fan?
you knew that, judging by the name that you've chosen.
You know what? Something is happening in the atmosphere. I was just trying to put my name, and my name is simple, Bruce. And for some reason,
It auto-corrected again.
it auto corrected again, and I just got to figure this
That's
out.
interesting.
I'm not tech savvy. Pre-show we had a little
That
problem.
is true. We had some mic
And so,
problems. You had your mic
and so and it's something that you've
turned
explained
around.
to me over and over again, and I still don't get it.
Well,
So that happened, bro. Like
I'm looking forward to Sha actually seeing
I just
the
want, yeah,
autocorrect on that one
and I don't know
because
how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it.
I'm
So
sure
it
you don't.
just gotta stay
Um,
there.
I'll teach you after the show.
Okay, thank you. Like you do everything else. Appreciate it, bro.
Oh man. But yeah, we're gonna have Sean. We're gonna talk NFL playoffs. Her Niners play today against the Rams, divisional matchup. Looking forward to that one. Winner goes to the Super Bowl, obviously. So I'm sure her nerves are raking up for that one. And then we'll talk some hoops as well.
Yes.
Like I said, she's a Warriors fan. The Warriors are in second place in the West right now on a 5-game winning streak. So we'll get her thoughts on them. We'll get her thoughts on our Chicago Bulls, who aren't doing so hot right now. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. We'll talk about it eventually. But before we get to sports, Bruce, I have to ask you, my guy, how are you doing? How's your heart?
My heart is good, man. I'm in a really good place in life right now. My birthday's coming up, bro. My birthday is Sunday, next Sunday.
Hey,
Yeah. I wish I could tell you my age, but
why not?
I mean it's just because you get to a certain point where you just forget, and I'm at that point right now. So I'm like 33, 27.
That's a
Around there.
that's a big
What
gap.
I mean, look, it happens. It happens, and I don't try and explain it. And I just tell people, take a guess. I just say, take a guess. What you think? And whatever age people throw out there, that's where I'm at.
What do
So
they normally throw out there?
I mean, look at me, bro. So I get like 26. 22. Some people like, did you just graduate high school? I was like, stop it. Whoa,
Wow.
stop.
Scott.
Why you didn't have to say wow like that though? You
I
said
mean,
wow like you can't. That's not true. People don't say
listen,
that
man.
about you.
Listen, we're both bald, okay? So we gotta
Yeah.
we're at that
Yeah.
stage now.
Yeah.
I'm sure
You-
people are telling you that with your hat on. That's probably what it is.
Whoa. Okay.
If you took your hat
Wow.
off, it'll probably change.
Wow.
Because when I take my hat off,
Mhm.
it changes. So,
Okay. Okay.
and that's
I
no
mean,
disrespect for you. Listen, ball people,
we got to
we
stick together.
we got a union.
Yeah. Yeah. let's not look, man. I told you my heart was in the right place. We're not gonna do this. You're not gonna bring me down, E. Nah, I get what you're trying to do. Keep me in reality, but come on, bro. Let's not do this. But no, man, my heart, I'm in a good place, man. It's football Sunday. I'm excited for these games, bro. So birthday's coming up. I really don't have any plans. I would tell people that I'm a size 12 in Jordans. Just kind of throwing it out there if somebody want to surprise me. As if I don't have enough, but you can never have enough mics, So yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah, that's all, bro. That's all.
I'll agree with that.
Thank you. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I am good. It is Super Bowl. Well, NFL playoff Super Bowl is coming up.
Yeah.
And as some people know, most people know, as you know, I work for a vendor. I work for Frito-Lay.
Okay.
And if you don't know, Super Bowl week, Super Bowl Sunday is probably the busiest time for Frito-Lay. Obviously, you see all the Tostitos Super Bowl commercials and Doritos, and Frito-Lay's the official chip brand of the NFL, whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to give a PSA to people who are going out and shopping and getting their Super Bowl party chips and dips and all of that. If you see a vendor working, okay, just be courteous.
Right.
Just know that, especially if it's a Frito-Lay guy, if it's, and I'm sure people that go to the same store all the time probably see their Frito-Lay guy here and there. But especially during this time of the year, we are working our ass off to make sure y'all get y'all's chips, okay? So all I'm saying is just, be courteous. Don't be, running through the aisle with the cart and then hitting us in the ankle, and then we got an ankle injury now. We got to go through that for the rest of the day. I mean, we're talking like we're working like 10 hours a day trying to get y'all's chips and dips. Okay. So just be courteous that Frito-Lay, this is a busy time for us. Yeah. We're working our butt off. You'll get your chips. Right. You'll get your chips. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I like that.
Show's over.
Yeah.
No, but it's a crazy world out there, man. People treat us badly. Like we're scum. I feel like when people see us because it's like we're in the way, and I get it. Like we're trying to stock the chips, and you want your Tostitos scoops, and we're putting them the scoops. So you stand there with your cart looking at us like, hurry up. We're just like, we're trying to stock them for you. Sorry.
Right.
This is a really pointless rant. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, go off, bro. Go off, because it's gonna be Craig. Craig gonna be just looking at you. Try to get 6 bags of
it bothers
scoops.
me, man. And I've only been working for Frito-Lay for like a year, so I can't even imagine the guys who've been doing it for like 15, 20 years. But
yeah.
It's a crazy world out there in them grocery stores. So
man, it's rough.
Be safe, be nice. Yeah. You'll get your chips. Right.
Had to drop that.
Anyway.
Had to drop that PSA on it. Oh, rude ass.
I had to. I'm gonna put something on Facebook too, just to make it super official. Anyway, let's talk some sports.
Let's do it.
So, our beloved Chicago Bears. They have gone through their due diligence in interviewing general managers, head coaches, and they have come to the conclusion that Ryan Poles, not Ryan Pace, Poles, is the guy. He is our guy at general manager. He is the new general manager of Chicago Bears. Comes from Kansas City, where he was the director of player personnel. just to give a quick background on this guy. So he started with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2009.
Mhm.
Okay. He was hired as the scouting assistant under general manager Scott Pioli at the
Right.
time, who was a very successful general manager. And then stayed with the organization through the general manager change to John Dorsey, who was the general manager after Scott Pioli, and then stayed with the organization even after another general manager change for the Kansas City Chiefs in Brett Veach, who's the current general manager for the Chiefs.
Mhm. Yeah.
Throughout those years, since 2009, obviously up to 2018, he just got promotion after promotion after promotion. People loved this guy. Players loved this guy. And now is promoted to general manager of one of the charter franchises in the league in our Chicago Bears. And it's funny because he was actually a undrafted free agent for the Bears back in 2008. Didn't make the team due to, whatever. Wasn't that great of a player, but was an offensive lineman.
Right.
It's key. Because now we have a general manager who's going to be drafting, who's going to be in charge of surrounding Justin Fields with talent, who is a former offensive lineman. So I think that's something key to point out. But Bruce, what was your thoughts when the Bears announced that Ryan Poles is our new GM?
I mean, you know me through this whole process. I've just been really like, I'm not about to get too excited. I'm not about to get too low. I'm just really, it's wait and see. It's a wait and see approach. So when they hired Poles, I immediately said, okay, well, what did he do in Kansas City? And, one of the things that he was really known for was his scouting, personnel. And you look at the players that he was responsible for in scouting. I mean, the list is super impressive, right? When it comes to, the reason why Kansas City has had the success that they've had. I mean, you could look at Travis Kelce, D4, who was, no longer with them, but, really got his start with Kansas City. I mean, Chris Jones, Tyreek Hill, all those players, of course, made the Pro Bowl. Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers in the league. Travis Kelce may be the best tight end in the league. And then to add the cherry on top, he was responsible for Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And so you look at that and you say, okay, boom, that man, he has he knows how to he knows talent when he sees it. Look, and we get it. You're not going to hit all the time on players, right? But when you look at his track record, that's pretty impressive. Another thing that I was very impressed with was the fact that, and with this being his first huge job as a GM, he came in and told those guys that run the Chicago Bears, I'm not about to say their names because I don't like them right now. He told them, like, I want full control on who I hire as coach. I want full control on, who I bring in far as, offensive court, things of that nature. Unlike 2015, when that guys who run the Bears, they had a lot to say with Ryan Pace on who he brought in, who he hired, things of that nature. I say all that to say, man, it's a wait and see approach. I'm not about to sit here and say, oh, we hit it. Like, boom, let's go, Super Bowl, here we go. And I'm not about to sit here and say, oh my God, that sucks. He's 36 years old. Like, he's never had a position like this. This is I can't do either or. So I'm just wait and see. Wait and see with the Chicago Bears. Wait and see with this guy who, I mean, you look at his background, very impressive. He played in the NFL, as you stated, experienced offensive lineman, so he has experience in that area, and that's one of the main areas that the Bears need a lot of help in. drafting, developing. Like he has the resume, which is very impressive. Now you just gotta see how that's gonna turn out on the field. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You can have a very impressive resume, all these guys, I mean, you look at all these coaches, all these GMs, these new GMs, everybody has a great resume.
That's why they get hired.
But at the end of the day, as we realized with Ryan Pace, who had a great resume, you look at what he did in New Orleans and the players that he drafted and things of that nature. And when we got him, we was like, oh, yeah, boom, let's go. Everybody has a great resume, but it's about wins and losses at the end of the day.
Yes, that it is. And what I guess kind of my reaction when I heard was, first off, who the hell is this guy? I knew nothing of Ryan Poles other than he was thought of to be a finalist. I didn't really look into him too deeply because there were some other guys that the Bears were, reportedly super high on, and Ryan Poles' name didn't seem to fit in that, list of names. But then, late, I guess he really impressed with his interviews, and I guess he impressed Bill Polian enough to bring him in for a second interview, and then George McCaskey went to go pick him up at the airport, which is a whole nother ordeal because he had like a Bears Letterman's jacket with a Bears mask and looking like a super fan that he is. Because remember, he's a fan; he's not a football evaluator.
Exactly.
And they went to go pick him up and brought him to Hallis Hall, and then he didn't leave. He got hired right then and there. But he's 36, which is, I think, similar to the age that Ryan Pace was also hired at. Young guy, young mind. It worried me that we hired yet another first-time GM. Because I thought the Bears are going to go with someone who was very experienced, older, maybe has been a GM or an assistant GM at one point in his front office career.
Yeah.
But they went with Ryan Poles. And I was very skeptical. Skeptical is the word. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wait to hold my judgment. He has an impressive resume, like you said. He was with the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been super successful, but like you said, Ryan Pace was with the Saints. Saints were super successful. So that didn't ruffle my feathers, so to speak. So basically, I said, okay, I'm going to wait to see who this guy hires. I'm going to wait to see what is his approach on hiring a coach, or maybe hiring someone underneath him in the front office, bringing someone else in. And then he goes, as soon as he walks in the building, and this is where I was kind of, oh, no, not again. But he walks in the building, and Jim Caldwell is in the building ready to get interviewed by Ryan Poles. And Jim Caldwell was obviously a finalist for the head coaching position. And it literally gave me PTSD and reminded me exactly of what the Bears did with Ryan Pace and John Fox. Because Ryan Pace walked into the building. John Fox was kind of forced on Ryan Pace by Bears ownership. And then obviously he was hired. So Ryan Poles walks in, immediately has an interview with Jim Caldwell, and thank God that he didn't immediately hire him, because that kind of told me that, okay, Ryan Poles has a little bit more control of this situation. And then it came out that Ryan Poles was the only guy interviewing head coaching candidates. If you remember with Ryan Pace, he was sitting in the room, I think, with ownership, with Ted Phillips, with their consultant, at the time, and also interviewing coaches, and kind of got, recommendations from them as to who to hire. So that kind of said that Ryan Pace was inexperienced, didn't completely know what he was doing, and John Fox wasn't his guy. So the fact that Ryan Poles did these interviews by himself, interviewed Jim Caldwell, Matt Eberflus, Dan Quinn, and picked his guy. That was. No, you're good. Everything good over there, bro?
Whew, yeah, I'm good. Man.
The fact that Ryan Poles did these interviews himself,
in
terms of head coaches, and actually found out afterwards that he demanded that he do these interviews himself, and he got to pick his guy. That was very encouraging, and it kind of changed my mindset a little bit on the fact that he's so young, or the fact that he's inexperienced.
Right.
He came in walking in the building, knowing what he wanted.
Yeah.
With full confidence on how he wanted to run the coaching interviews and hires and everything. So it definitely gave me some more confidence in the guy.
Yeah.
And then he hires a head coach.
Yeah.
And our new head coach is former Indianapolis Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus.
Eberflus.
You'll have to go back and listen to last week's episode to hear Bruce try to pronounce the name.
I gave him like 6 different names. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys. So, but Eberflus.
Now he's our coach, Bruce.
He's our coach. Now I gotta really just get his name right.
But he goes by the nickname Coach Flus, which I kind of like. But yeah, he's former defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. He's 51 years old. He's been a coach in the NFL since 2009. Started off with the Cleveland Browns as a linebacker coach, and then he kind of spent the majority of his coaching career with the Dallas Cowboys. After that, he coached under Rob Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
You look at former Bears defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli, who a lot of guys who Bears fans are really familiar with.
Yeah.
He coached a really good defense here in Chicago. I believe wasn't he the defensive coordinator when we went to the NFC Championship game against the Packers?
Against the Packers?
In 2011, I think that was.
I will have to go back and do some
I'm pretty
research.
sure he was, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone knows. The people who know football know Rod Marinelli has a very good track record in the league as a defensive coach. But he was in Dallas up until 2000 and I believe it was 17. And then it's interesting because Eberflus, his transition to the Colts is an interesting one, because he was supposed to, if you remember, Josh McDaniels, who was going to be the head coach of the Colts before they got who's the current coach?
Frank
Reich. Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Before they hired Frank Reich, they were going to hire Josh McDaniels, and it was in verbal agreement that they were going to hire Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
And Josh McDaniels brought Eberflus with him to coach the defense for the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
But then something happened. I don't know what happened exactly, but it fell through. Josh McDaniels didn't end up going to the Colts. He stood with the Patriots as their offensive coordinator. But what's interesting is Eberflus was retained. Even though he's supposed to be Josh McDaniels' defensive coordinator, he was retained by Frank Reich because Frank Reich was so impressed with Eberflus, kept him there, and then the rest is history. We all know the Colts defense has been really, really good for the past couple of years since he's been the defensive coordinator.
Yep.
But he walks in, first-time head coach. Another thing that kind of worried me a little bit, because I was expecting the Bears to learn from their mistake,
right,
by hiring a first-time GM in Ryan Pace, a first-time head coach in Matt Nagy. And I thought they were going to go a little bit more experienced in this route.
Okay.
But they went with Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
And, he's the current head coach, defensive-minded coach.
Okay.
Obviously, he was a defensive coordinator. A lot of people wanted, another offensive coach. Brian Dable is a name that was really popular with Bears fans. I was talking about him last week in terms of, me wanting to see him walk in the building. But they went with this guy. And what were your thoughts, Bruce? Eberflus.
Yeah, I had to get his name right. That was my first thought. Like, oh man, you can't even like slip up with his name. Think about it. Like you could just say you can't slip up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was
like,
I really gotta get his name right. Man, look, you want to hear something interesting? This is the Bears' fourth coach in 9 years. Think about that for a second, bro. It's no stability within this organization whatsoever. 4 coaches in 9 years. So I'm just like, I can't be down on this guy because it's not his fault. It's not his fault that this organization is the way it is. And honestly, and I know you're asking me like, how do I feel about the GM? How do I feel about the coach? I'm just at a point as a Bears fan of just big picture. Look, I hope that he's the right coach. I hope as we're doing this show live from our studio in 5 years, that we're not sitting here saying like, oh my God, this wasn't the right coach. Here we go again. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that this is the guy. Again, resume, very impressive. He was that Colts defense, one of the tops in the NFL. I think they had a little, somewhat of a down year this year, but over the last couple of years, they've been one of the best defensive teams. He runs a 4-3. The Bears, the personnel is more 3-4, but you could, whatever. That's not a huge concern of mine. The fact that he is a defensive-minded coach and everybody wanted offense, what does it matter? We've had offensive coach. We just had an offensive coach, and we saw where
our last two offensive coaches.
Exactly. So that doesn't bother me either. Like, okay, so now we switch to defense. Okay, so what? Again, big picture, man. Like, here we go again. 4 coaches in 9 years. That's terrible. That's disturbing. And for Eberflus, he was the finalist for I believe he was the finalist for the Jacksonville job, and so he was definitely sought after. He definitely had interest from other teams. Could we have gone, like you said, to Brian Dable? Yeah, could we have gone that route? Sure. You talked about going the route of having more experience. So Jim Caldwell, he was sitting there. Could we have gone that route? Sure. Like, to me, whoever we hired, I would have been like, okay, we got to give him a chance. Let me just you gave a PSA announcement earlier. Let me give a PSA announcement. If you're a Bears fan and you seriously are down on this organization because they hire another Matt and
Ryan,
and you were very serious, like, oh my God, here we go again. This is a sign that we're gonna suck because if you're that serious, you know what? Go play in the street. Just go play in the street. Good luck. And I'm not asking you, I don't want you to die, but just go play in the street because that's ridiculous. Like, stop it. Come on, Bears fans. Like, really? I saw that so much on Twitter where I was just like, you cannot be serious. And there was some people that was dead serious on that.
Dead serious.
Like, we're going to suck because we hire another Matt and Ryan. Like, stop it. Stop it. Okay, that was my PSA.
No, it's accurate. I tweeted, if I see another, we got another Matt and Ryan,
Like, come on,
tweet.
Man. Stop.
I'm gonna go crazy because it doesn't matter. I don't care what their first names are.
Right. Just get it right.
It could be Eli and Bruce.
We just want to win. That's it.
I don't care.
We just want wins at this point, man. Like, I just want my team. I want my Bears team that I have lived and died with since I was a shorty. I just want them to be successful.
Yeah.
I look at these teams that's playing. I know we're going to get to the games later today, but I look at a Kansas City Chiefs team. I look at Cincinnati on the come up. San Francisco's been here before. The Rams and what they've done I look at these teams and I'm just jealous, bro. I enjoy the game as a football head and as a fan. I enjoy it. But looking at those organizations, man, I'm jealous because they got it. And we're still trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
The people that's listening, 4 coaches in the last 9 years. That's not, you can't do that and expect to be successful. So
how many GMs in that last 9 years?
Oh man.
Isn't it 4?
4.
Jerry Angelo, Phil Emery, Ryan Pace,
and now
Poles.
4. That's not, you're not going to be successful. I don't care what you just won't. You just won't be successful. So to Eberflus, man, you're my coach. You're our coach now. So I'm going to just get it right. I hope you get it right, man.
Yeah.
I hope you get it right.
Yeah, what gives me confidence in Ryan Poles and the way that the Bears are being structured right now, the Bears for the first time in franchise history have hired an assistant GM.
An assistant GM, yeah.
Ian Cunningham is coming from Philly. He was there, I believe, their director of player personnel, or scouting, director of player scouting, something like that. But Ryan Poles has hired him to be assistant GM. And for the people who don't think that that's like, oh, assistant GM, what's that supposed to do? Ryan Pace, he was the GM, and all of his little scouts and his little front office guys, they were all yes men.
Right.
Like, you got to understand that Ryan Pace was running the show.
Yeah.
With every decision. Ted Phillips and Jordan McCaskey don't know what the hell is going on football-wise. Yeah. So if Ryan Pace comes up to George or Ted and is like, hey, do you guys think this is a good idea? What do you think George and Ted are going to say?
Yeah. Yes. Or sure. whatever you say.
You're our football guy, Ryan.
Yeah.
They probably did the point thing, too.
They shot the gun at him. You're right.
But he had no accountability, man.
None.
He had zero accountability.
Right.
And accountability is so important.
It's huge
with the football organization.
Definitely.
Because you need multiple eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You need people to tell you, hey, we have the 3rd pick in the draft. You might not need to trade up to the 2nd pick in the draft to take Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
You might be able to stay at the 3rd pick and maybe take Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Maybe take Patrick Mahomes, who we scouted really well, and we found out that he's going to be really good. You need people in the building to say that.
Wow.
And an assistant GM
that's huge.
Does that.
That's huge.
An assistant GM.
Yep.
And Ian Cunningham, he might not have been, touted as a potential GM for another team, but he's a very experienced guy. So he comes in under Ryan Poles and will be that sounding board to be like, hey, Ryan, that might not be a good idea, bro.
Exactly.
Can I talk you into another route?
Yeah.
You need a committee. You need. And it's funny that the Bears have talked about collaboration for the past, 2-3 years, but there has been no collaboration. That was non-existent.
None whatsoever.
It was Ryan Pace 100%.
Right.
In terms of, roster moves and drafting moves and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me hope. That is telling me that George and Ted are truly taking their hands off of this thing.
Right.
And being like, all right, Ryan, Poles, you do your thing, bro. We will sit back and maybe not meddle as much because we know that they are the meddlers. Maybe not meddle as much and you do your thing.
Right.
So I'm encouraging. Honestly, and I might have to duck after I say this, but it's kind of giving me AK Mark Eversley vibes.
Bro, okay. See, this is why we do this show. This is why, because I was just getting ready to say, like, man, don't this remind you of what the boys are doing just a little bit?
It gives me my
Yeah.
AK Mark Eversley vibes. And
Definitely.
it's not to say that the
Definitely.
Bears are going to turn this around as fast as they did, because
Right.
I don't even think anyone knew that they were going
Yeah.
to turn it around as fast as they did.
If you
But
ask AK and Eversley, I don't even think they thought this was going to be. I mean,
I think they came out and said that when
Yeah.
when they put this roster together.
Exactly.
They said that they were very surprised as how well they started playing together and how early it was. But yeah, when we hired AK and Mark Eversley, we were all like, okay, these guys have impressive resumes. They've come from organizations where they did some good things, but let's wait it out and see.
Right.
Wait it out and see.
Yeah.
And we found out that, very quickly that they know what the hell they're doing.
What I'm looking forward to, and to your point of them hiring this assistant GM and some of the things that you're reading about that the Bears are doing, I'm looking forward to, just for the first time, not really having to hear McCaskey or Ted Phillips do anything football related. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We know Ted Phillips is a businessman. He's the money man. He's the one that, do you want to know why the Bears are so successful as far as merchandising, as far as, all this, when it comes to bringing money to the Chicago Bears? That's because of Ted Phillips. Ted Phillips is the money guy. That's why he's still around, because he's done a great, for people that say that the McCaskies are cheap or that, no, that is not the case whatsoever.
No.
The McCaskies aren't cheap. Not cheap at all. They spent, look, you don't go through 4 coaches in 9 years and say and think like money is the problem. You don't.
They've paid plenty of guys. Look at Khalil Mack.
Guys.
Look at Eddie Jackson.
They've overpaid for guys.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton, $10 million. We're gonna just outbid everybody for Andy Dalton and get
Nick Foles paid for like $1 million per completion.
Exactly. So for me, it's just like, if I don't have to hear McCaskey or Ted Phillips when it comes to the football decisions for this team, I'm good. Get me to that point.
Yeah.
And I think the Bears are in the right direction in doing that.
I agree 100%. And then lastly, the biggest hire, the one that, even though we hired Eberflus, even though we hired Ryan Poles, everyone was asking and wondering what the Bears were going to do with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
We have this cornerstone of the franchise, the most important position in sports, arguably. We used up so much draft capital to get this guy in the building. What is your plan? Even though you're a defensive-minded head coach, what is your plan to develop Justin Fields? Who's going to be your offense coordinator? Who's going to be your QB coach? All of that. And then we find out that Eberflus goes out and gets Luke Getsy. I think that's how you say it.
Getsy, yeah. Yep.
But he was the QB coach and passing game coordinator for the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
And he officially becomes the OC. There were talks of Green Bay wanting to keep him, but he wanted to get the opportunity to call plays.
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur isn't going to give that up. But there's talks of a lot of Green Bay style offense. There's talks of, and shout out to Shah, there's talks of he has kind of a Kyle Shanahan, what's the word I'm looking for? Scheme within his offense.
Yeah.
And I mean, the name kind of gets me excited. Mm-hmm. Especially the fact that we're taking someone from Green Bay. I think that's also a plus because also Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, went in, accepted a head coaching job. Where did he go again?
Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah, offensive coordinator for Green Bay. He just got a head coaching job. Was it Jacksonville?
Jacksonville?
That sounds right, Jacksonville. But yeah, Green Bay is losing all kinds of head or offensive coaches, and we know how Aaron Rodgers, his decisions up in the air. So, make that place a living hell for Aaron Rodgers as much as possible to get him to either retire or get the hell off the squad.
Facts.
Because I'm looking forward to that. But no, and then there's some names for QB coach that people are talking about. Pep Hamilton, who's a big name out there. But yeah, I am just excited. And again, we don't know a whole lot of Luke Getsy. He wasn't the offensive coordinator for Green Bay. He was just a passing game coordinator, QB coach. But I am just excited to get someone in the building to build the offense around Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And not try to mold Justin Fields to their system. Because I feel like
when you say it, I'm sorry, bro, but when you say it, it sounds so like what are we like? This is, oh my God.
Yeah.
We have, because you see it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Because we talk about this all the time. Like you look at a Patrick Mahomes, you look at Lamar Jackson, you look at all these successful quarterbacks, and the common sense is like, let's build around these tremendous players, these tremendous,
what they're good at,
and their dynamic skill set. And we see the skill set that Justin Fields has, but for some reason, like we wanted to go away from that. And I'm just like, that's just the dumbest. That's so stupid. It's stupid, man. Like, it's just,
and I'm not surprised given some of the things that have come out about Matt Nagy recently. The whole ditching Mitch Trubisky before they let him go,
not talking Allen Robinson. Man.
And everyone was talking, oh, Matt Nagy's this good guy. He's a good coach. He's just not a good offensive mind. No, it's pretty clear now why.
Yeah, the
Bears
so
were as bad as they were for as long as he was here. But
I use the word stupid, and we've been doing this for a long time, and I feel like that's very beneath us. Like we could use better words than stupid. So I apologize. I'm going to use the word mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
You know what? When it comes to Matt Nagy, I think stupid is accurate. I think you can use that. That's one of the very few. When it comes to Matt Nagy and Jim Boylan, I think we can actually say
it's just stupid.
We could actually say that, I think. But
oh man,
yeah, I'm excited for the future of the Bears. I think they're actually doing it the right way this time.
Yeah.
Which is, the feel that we got for the Bulls once they let go of Gar Forman and reassign John Paxson and hired these guys. I think they're actually headed in the right direction. But we got a lot of work to do, obviously.
Definitely.
They still have to draft well. They still have to manage the cap well. They still have to, assess free agency and all of that stuff. There's still so much work to do. I'm not being like, hey, Super Bears, Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm not there yet.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on
the
Bears?
No.
Okay. All righty.
Let's just get it right.
Anyway. Yeah. Speaking of Super Bowl, the 49ers are one game away from going to another Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan.
Let's go.
It's going to be very interesting to see that divisional matchup, and to help us talk about the Niners and maybe talk some hoops as well. We are welcoming special guest, second-time guest on Deep Dish in Sports, Sha.
Meow, 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 meow.
What up?
Hey, fellas. What's going on?
I love that jersey, by the way.
I got the Kittle jersey.
That is a nice
today.
Yeah.
Nice
got a
jersey.
rip.
I see.
Very excited, nervous, all that. I feel like I'm playing. I'm like, go.
I would love to say we know what that feels like, but we haven't been in the playoffs in God knows how long.
Hey, you guys have, we had John Lynch also, who was an unproven GM.
Mhm.
So he turned it around. Also,
Right.
Kyle Shanahan, as you said earlier,
Yeah.
a new head coach who was an offensive coordinator,
Mhm.
never had a head coaching job. So, keep your hopes high. Keep your hopes
That's all
high.
we got.
All
That's
you
all we
got to
got is
do is
hope.
be happy for the change. Be
Right.
happy for the change.
Yeah,
Facts.
and hope that there's
Facts.
no more change,
Yeah.
Exactly.
at least anytime soon.
Seriously.
But it's just funny that we keep talking about head coaching changes during this time of year, and you're worried about playoffs.
I know,
I'm very
right? I
jealous.
love
The
it.
Super
I'm
Bowl,
very
a game
jealous.
away from
I
the Super
love
Bowl.
being a Niner fan.
Man,
Ain't no better
Anyways,
feeling, baby.
I see.
speaking of, obviously you're a huge Niner fan, huge Warriors fan, and we'll get to the Warriors here in a minute. But talk about how you feel about your Niners this season.
Oh my
How,
gosh, this whole season was just like frustrating. It was so frustrating. We started
Really?
off bad. It was like,
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think we
right.
were 3-5 at a
Yeah.
point,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I can't believe how much we turned it around towards the end of the season, and we're the only wild card left.
We were rocking, yep.
And it's crazy. Even the game last week, I was ready to turn it off. I'm like, I'm turning off this freaking game. Like, I'm over it. The emotions were just everywhere. But my husband was like, nah, we're watching this. We're going to watch it. And special teams just pulled it out for us. And man, it was the
By the way,
best.
thank
It
you
was the best.
for eliminating Green Bay, because that's like the
You
only.
can thank former Bear for that.
I know.
I
That's
can't
Robbie
believe you guys
Gold.
let him go.
I know.
They didn't
At
wanna
least
pay him.
we finally fixed it.
Like, we'll take him. Thank you.
Right.
But yeah, that game was crazy. Let's talk about this matchup with the Rams. So obviously it's a divisional matchup.
Mhm.
You guys see them twice a year. How do you feel about your guys' chances going into this game?
I mean, I feel good. We beat them twice already in the regular season, so they're beatable,
Mhm.
The way the Niners play, they're really scrappy. Like, they play bully ball. So,
Yeah.
I expect Bosa to have a really big sack game. I expect our defense to just, run all over their defense. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see, playoff. The thing about the NFL playoffs, it's a one-game deal. It's
That's it.
not like the
Winner go
NBA
home.
where it's like
Right.
a 5-game series. It's just one game that you have. So I expect the Niners to just go all out. They actually had, I think, a day more rest
Mhm.
than the Rams did.
Yeah, you guys
And
play on Saturday. Yeah.
yes. And so it was nice also that it was LA. It's a short trip for
Mhm.
the guys. So that's really helpful for them for their rest. So I just expect them to play bully ball, to just go all out and get some sacks. Bosa to have a good game, like I said. Also, I expect Debo to have 100+ yards.
My
He's
God.
my favorite player right
Debo.
now. Like,
Man, that's
I
my
love
favorite
Debo. Debo
non-quarterback is Debo Samuels right now.
I love
Yeah.
Debo. Like,
He's a
I think he
monster.
called himself a wide back.
Yeah.
That's him or something like that, right? But he's just like
sounds
my
accurate.
favorite player. So I expect him to have a good game. I expect Garoppolo to just, go all out. And I feel like he's gonna go all out. So I have faith in Garoppolo.
What's your guys' track record against the Rams? Like overall,
He has
I
a
know
really good
this
track
year.
record against the Rams, yes.
Yeah.
So our
Since
run game
Sean
and our
McVay's
passing
been
game
there?
has to be on point today.
Yeah. Yeah. They've won. The 49ers have won 6 straight games over the Rams. And like Sha mentioned, they actually came back. Like, if you guys remember in week 18, the 49ers needed that win to get into the playoffs. And they
Right.
came back. I think they was down by like 14 and they came
Yeah,
back and
yep.
beat the Rams.
Yep.
So they have a lot of confidence going in. And so Sha wanted to ask, because you mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo. And man, like everybody, outside.
It's a love-hate.
Yeah. And you know what? Like the 49er fans, like, I feel like you guys, on his good games, it's like, man, he's the greatest. On his bad games, y'all like, hey, bring Trey. Trey need to come in
Jay
right
Cutler
now.
all over again.
Yeah, but you mentioned that you have confidence in him. What do you think he has to do in order for the 49ers to be successful in today's game?
He has to be consistent. He can't be throwing interceptions. And the thing about Garoppolo is he doesn't move in the pocket. And that's one of the most frustrating things about him is like, move, bro, what are you doing? You're just standing there. So he has to really be mobile. When he's mobile, he's actually really good. And that's why I don't understand why he doesn't do it. Maybe it was his injury. His injury probably, as an athlete, like it's traumatizing to get injured. And I think once he got that ACL injury, he just stopped being mobile. But he's actually really good when he's mobile. So I expect him to do that. I expect him to limit his interceptions, limit his and I think they're going to use the run game more against the Rams. That's what they do a lot, actually, against the Rams. They use their run game a lot. So, I just expect Jimmy to just be on point and not make those little mistakes that he usually makes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jimmy, I know that this upcoming year, I believe, is his last year on his contract, correct? And you guys have Trey Lance in the wing waiting. And obviously, we're not sure how good Trey Lance is yet. I mean, his potential is through the roof.
Man.
But we're not sure how good he's going to be.
Right.
If you guys were to win the Super Bowl this year, what do you think are the odds that Jimmy Garoppolo could maybe get an extension with the 49ers? And would you want that?
Right.
Well, there's two narratives out there, right? The first narrative is that they're just going to trade Jimmy, like win a Super Bowl and get his value up and trade Jimmy Garoppolo. And the second narrative is keep him and have him build Trey Lance and have that transition from him to Trey Lance, passing the torch. I would like to see Jimmy's made of glass, okay? Like this dude gets injured like all the time. So I would like to see the transition of, maybe Jimmy coming back next season and having it transition to Trey Lance and have him learn more. Trey Lance actually played a couple games and he's a rookie, so he is very unproven.
He's raw.
Not like Justin Fields. Justin Fields had to be that dude. He had no choice but to be that dude for the Bears. And he's actually really fun to watch. Side note, when I watch the Bears and the 49ers live, Justin Fields live is amazing. And I hope
4th and 1
you guys really go off with him.
But
Trey, it's kind of hard right now for a rookie to transition to a Super Bowl bound team. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to transition a rookie and we're still in the running for the Super Bowl?
You're ready to win right now.
Exactly.
So you really don't know. I'm happy we do have Trey Lance in the back end to get him prepared for, the next season, because whatever Jimmy or the staff decide on, I'm sure they're gonna respect him. They're gonna respect Jimmy G, and they're gonna be like, you've been awesome with us. They'll probably give him an option too. Like, do you want to get traded or do you want to stay? Like, I'm sure they'll give him that option. The Niners have always been an organization to do that, so we'll see.
We'll see. Here's the crazy thing about the 49ers, right? And this just goes to show you how successful organizations, how they sustain success.
Right.
You look at last year with the 49ers, the only reason why they did not have a successful season is because of injuries.
Right. Injuries. Yes.
All their key players from Bosa.
Debo was injured.
Yeah, Debo.
Kittle was injured.
And these are season. These were season.
Bosa was injured.
Yeah. So, but then what happens? They didn't have the best record, but then they were able to draft their quarterback of the future.
Right.
And now they get all their players back this year, and they're a game away from the Super Bowl with them having a quarterback of the future. You see what I'm saying? So it just seems like when you know how to run an organization, stuff like that happens. Even though they had a really bad season last year because of the injuries, they still were able to get their quarterback for the next 10 years. So
for the future. Exactly.
And as a Bears fan, I'm jealous.
They actually drafted Debo and Bosa in the same year. So it was wow. And they developed them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The development of the organization, I think, fans love it. And I think that's why fans are so brutal when it comes to Jimmy, because they're like, you have to be on point because everyone else is on point. You need to be on point. You're the leader, so poor Jimmy. I'm a Jimmy fan, so I'm not a Jimmy hater. I'm
rooting for Jimmy. And to your point, like he's had an up and down playoffs. Like I don't even think he's thrown a touchdown in this playoffs. Right. However, when he finds it against the Rams, like if you look at his numbers and you look at his record against the Rams, like somehow, some way he turns into Joe Montana / Aaron Rodgers / Tom Brady. So, I mean, I and the Rams, they're struggling defensively. You definitely can move the ball against them.
Oh,
and so I think he's going to have a good game. I'm rooting for Jimmy today.
I think it's a lot of in terms of what Jimmy Garoppolo can do and his development. I think a big shout out has to go to Kyle Shanahan because when I think of Kyle Shanahan, I still think of that dynamic Atlanta offense that was scoring like 30 plus points a game. Matt Ryan was an MVP candidate. You had Julio Jones going off. I mean, their passing game was insane. And now he comes to the 49ers. You get Jimmy Garoppolo. He finds out Jimmy Garoppolo is not MVP season Matt Ryan.
Right.
He's not the guy who you want to throw 40 times a game.
Right, exactly.
So he molds that offense. He says, okay, I need a strong offensive line. I need a good running back. And then we could just manage with Jimmy.
Yeah.
And
he's awesome.
Like they're at. Like
his mind is
talk about an offensive genius.
Right.
Insane.
But a lot of Niner fans also hate sometimes his play calls, which is,
that's every
whatever. That's every.
I challenge them to watch the Bears for the last.
But we're here,
years.
Right? But Niner fans are here. We're here, so you can't really,
And then what's more impressive about you guys are talking about Kyle Shanahan, and if you look at the offense as a whole, okay, so you got Debo, you got George Kittle, two, all
the
pro,
best in the league.
But then after that. The offensive line is amazing. I love Trent Williams. I hope he plays today. I know they said he had an ankle injury.
Yes, he's been practicing.
Yeah. But you look at the running backs, bro, like the three of us can go line up in that backfield. And because of the scheme that Shanahan runs, you could be a successful running back as a San Francisco 49er. You know what I'm saying? Because of the system in itself. I mean, you guys have had a lot. I think Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk.
He's the wide receiver, but I'm saying as far from the running backs, it's been because like you've had so many injuries at running backs, you're still able to just plug somebody in there, and then you can still be successful. And then of course, I mean, and we talked about this earlier, the wild card, Deebo Samuels, man, what he could do as a running back and a receiver.
He's nuts. He's dangerous. Crazy.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I expect him to really have a blowout game. Him and Kittle. Kittle hasn't really. He dropped a pass last week, and I was just like, and I'm hoping. I don't know. It was probably the conditions, and it was like hella snowy or whatever. But I'm hoping Kittle really has a good game today too, and let's do it. Let's do it. I can't wait. Bang, bang, Niner game.
It's going to be a great game. Shah, do you have a score prediction?
Yes. I'm predicting 26-20 Niners.
26-20. Okay. Bruce, what about you?
I got, 30-23 49ers.
30? You got to put them up.
30. Like I've watched that Rams offense their defense, and it's just they got the names. Don't get me wrong, they got the names, but I saw what Tom Brady did with one wide receiver. Okay, two. I'll give you Gronk and Mike Evans last week. And I saw what he did in coming back. I mean, they got a great pass rush. The Rams do. Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd. It's just hard watching him be successful right now. And Von Miller, they got the front. Jalen Ramsey at corner, he's shut down, but you could still put up numbers against them. So, like I said,
they're
Kyle
beatable.
Shanahan, they're definitely beatable. And Kyle Shanahan is a freaking genius when it comes to offense. So, 30-23.
Okay.
Where you at?
I'll go. listen, this is a divisional game, and usually when you get divisional games in the playoffs, they're usually low scoring because they know each other so damn well.
Facts.
You got Sean McVay, another offensive genius. He's got a new quarterback in Matthew Stafford, who I said last week is on a mission. Okay, me and Bruce had a wager, so I had to stick to my wager. So I'm sorry, Sean. I'm a big 49er fan. I think they're doing great things, but I got the Rams winning this game. I'll root for the Niners, but for the wager purpose.
I'll keep the receipts. I will keep the receipts, Eli. Okay.
I knew you would do that. I knew you would.
You got all this stuff going on in your life, but you still remember that dumb wager that we made. Great. Okay.
Oh yeah, because I want to see you eat that hot ass sauce. That's why I brought this up. I ain't forget. I was
hoping too. I was like, he ain't mentioned it all show.
I got the Rams winning 23-20. 23-20.
Close games.
I think it's going to be a very close game.
It's going to be a close game for sure.
It's divisional, so they know each other really well. But anyway, on the other side of things, you got Joe Burrow.
Oh, my dude.
And Patrick Mahomes. You got the Kansas City Chiefs and Bengals. Obviously, you got the up-and-coming Bengals, who I just look at, and again, we've said it for the last couple of weeks, but I just envision the Bears molding themselves kind of like how the Bengals did. I hope they do a better job with the offensive line, obviously, but
that O-line
they got
is terrible.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
the O-line is bad. The O-line is really bad. They didn't even deserve to win last week, but they're here. But Joe Burrow, obviously franchise quarterback, that went out and drafted Jamar Chase, who's one of the best wide receivers in the game right now. That offense is insane because their other starting wide receiver went over 1,000 yards as well. I forget his name. And then their running back had 1,000 yards rushing this year. That offense is dynamic. That's going to be a really good game. Everyone talks about last week, and last week was a classic with the Bills and the Chiefs, but I think this is going to be another high-scoring game, a lot like last week. Shah, what do you think about this game?
I think it's going to be high-scoring as well because it's QBs. When your QBs are elite, it's going to be a high-scoring game. Of course, but I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, so I'm rooting for the Bengals. I hate the Chiefs, okay? Ever since they beat us, I'm like, F the Chiefs, okay? I want them gone. So
I would think you would want revenge. I would think you want to see them in the Super Bowl again.
Nah, it's all
run
good.
this back.
You can lose. You can lose. I have no heartache with trying to beat you. I just,
Okay, so who you got winning then?
Bengals, for sure.
Bruce?
I love the Bengals too. I've been talking about them. That offense is tremendous. It's hard for me to go against Patrick Mahomes right now. I think you watched that game last week. Josh Allen, he's going to be tremendous.
That was an awesome game.
Yeah, but man, Patrick Mahomes, he's just on another level right now. And he struggled. He struggled in the beginning of the season. Yeah. Everybody thought the league was starting to figure him out and starting to figure out that Andy Reid offense. Nah, it's just that wasn't the case. Shout out to the Kansas City defense for kind of holding it down during the season for them. They really improved throughout the year. But just seeing Patrick Mahomes and where he's at right now and the connection that he's like, when we look at the great point guards in the NBA, right? You look at the Steph Currys and Chris Paul's, and they're just miles ahead.
Wait. I thought Steph Curry was the 34th best.
I know, right?
Oh, wow. That was a typo. I don't know how they got there. Let me prove my point. The top point guards, they're miles ahead, right? They think, and that's Patrick Mahomes. He's just he just sees things that nobody else see. And those are the elite quarterbacks. So I just look at that man, and I'm just like, it's hard for me to go against him. It's hard for me to go against Andy Reid. So I got Kansas City winning.
Score?
I got 37-27. Chiefs.
Ooh,
yeah.
Like it. I agree 100%. I mean, you play as well as Josh Allen did in Arrowhead and still can't win.
Yeah.
I don't know how you beaten the Chiefs in that stadium. That stadium is so damn loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs winning as well. I'll say 34-31, another close game, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's a championship series. You got the 4 best teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 2 really close games. So sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I will say, but this is not the last time you're going to see Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati team. And they are. That's the.
If they could shore up that offensive line, they're unstoppable.
That's it, bro. Like, that's all they need. It's not even fair that they got 2 dynamic receivers. Both went over 1,000 yards. They got a great running back.
Oh, by the way, their quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and running back are all under 25 years old. Or 25 or younger.
That's their franchise right there.
I need to throw something because that's so stupid.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy how you can go from one of the laughing stocks in the league, because let's face it, the Bengals weren't really anything before they drafted Joe Burrow
an easy dub,
and added the talent. That's why I hope and pray.
Did they change ownership or something?
I don't think they did.
No.
I don't think they did.
I don't know, but they figured it out. Yeah. And we're doing the disrespect to the other wide receiver for Cincinnati. It's T. Higgins. T. Higgins is the other wide receiver from Clemson. So yeah.
I'm excited for these NFL matchups. I think they're going to be great games.
Yes.
Anyway, quick hoops talk, because we all know that you are a huge Warriors fan. Sha, and your Warriors right now killing it.
Yes.
Second place, you're on a 5-game winning streak. The Grizzlies, who are under you guys, are 6 games away from y'all. So y'all kind of got that second seed locked up. I wouldn't say locked up, it's still early, but
it's early.
You and the Suns are kind of, separating yourselves from the rest of the West. But ever since Clay came back, what are your thoughts on your Warriors, and what kind of a chance do you think you guys have at winning it again this year?
Oh, we have a huge chance. I mean, it's just classic Warriors basketball, back to utilizing, the others, I guess you want to say, Poole and GP2. Even when Curry's in a slump, like, they still win. They still find ways to win. The only thing is we don't have Draymond right now. So, I think we were losing for a while, actually. So not having Draymond actually affects us a lot, because Draymond is a huge part of the team.
Yeah.
But, Steve Kerr pretty much knows how to deal with all that, the missing pieces. What I would like to see, though, is a better big. I love Looney, but sometimes he just be
Looney.
Man, Looney.
Looney be Looney.
Yeah, I wanted to see Wiseman actually, really bear fruit in Golden State. But he was getting injured. Wiggins, I'm so happy for Wiggins.
Oh, man.
He's just like, I'm just so happy because, I remember him getting drafted. I think he was the number 1 pick for Cleveland. And they just expected too much out of him.
Cleveland, that's right.
They expected too much, and I think he's really thriving in Golden State because he's not the main guy. Right. He doesn't have to put the team on his shoulders. He could just play his game, and he's just, man, I was so happy when they announced that he was an all-star. People were hating, but I'm like, you know what?
A lot of people were hating.
Yeah, I'm like, it's his time. He's been through so much, and he's thriving. So,
not that he doesn't deserve to be an all-star, because I think he does.
He's totally deserves.
The starting role is, I think, what threw a lot of people off.
But he's killing it. When you watch him, he's just like, dude, that mid-range, he's the king of that mid-range.
Yeah.
He's
the Warriors definitely resurrected
his
career. I'm happy for him, for sure.
I'm so happy for him. The bench is deep, so when the bench is deep, your team goes a really long way.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. I'm happy where they're at. We'll see where it goes. It's a long season, so I'm hoping nobody gets injured again, please. Right. Like the Bulls. Oh my gosh! But the Warriors.
You think you have a shot against the Suns in a 7-game series?
The Suns, definitely.
Oh, you said that confident.
What did you expect, though?
Definitely, dude. Yeah. Come on now.
Now, on the flip side of things, obviously, you know, we're Bulls fans, and I know that you, even though you're a Warriors fan, you kind of
I'm a Bulls fan as well.
because
I
you
grew
live
up a
here,
Bulls
you know,
fan too.
you keep you keep track with the Bulls and what they're doing. What are your thoughts on this Bull squad? I know we turned it around really quickly. You know, we surprised a lot of people, including us. We definitely didn't see us gelling this
I
fast.
know,
And I
I
know
love
injuries and COVID have been a huge hit on this team. Grayson Allen can go play in traffic and get COVID and get hit by
I
a
love
bus.
it.
But what are your thoughts on the Bull squad and their
I think
chances?
AK
in the
did an
East?
awesome job putting these people together. I want to know what his pitch was. Like, I wanted to be in that room and like hear his pitch to DeMar, to Lonzo, to see how they got their butts over here in the cold to hoop. But I love it. Like, their chemistry is really off the hook. And shout out to Zach LaVine for like keeping the team not having high,
Should've
like,
been an
I'm
all-star
the
starter.
leader of this team.
Same.
But, you know, once DeMar got an all-star, he wasn't butthurt about it. He wasn't, you know, like, oh, I should have been there or whatever. But
He should have though.
he did it with grace, you know what I'm saying? That DeMar's a starter, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he did it with grace. He wasn't salty about nothing, and so their chemistry is really good. They're young guys too, you know. So I'm a huge Ball fan, so I love the Ball brothers. I watch Ball in the Family, so I was so happy when we got Lonzo. So I was super happy. And Caruso, I love Caruso. It just sucks that injuries plague us,
right?
And but we need a better big. I know, Bruce, you love Vooch.
Man,
I know you love him, but man, he reminds me of Carlos Boozer. You are slow as molasses. Okay, we need something else. We need something else.
No, I agree. I think we need a scrappy big. I think Vooch is not that guy.
He's so slow.
He's 7 foot. He don't play 7 foot. I'm sorry, Bruce. I love you.
No, his time has come. I know you're a big Vooch fan.
When he hit the game-winning shot in the playoffs to send us to the championship, y'all gonna remember what I said.
When he does, I will gladly admit my wrong sayings. But
I was hoping that the Bulls would pick up Sabonis, because I think Sabonis, right? They were talking about I think Sabonis was whatever with the Pacers, but I was hoping to pick something up like Sabonis. That would be nice.
That would be huge.
Yeah. And quickly, just to bring up a point, it's funny that you mentioned DeMar DeRozan, because if you remember the last time we had you on, it was for the Kobe tribute episode, and it was literally right after Kobe passed. And DeMar's game is so Kobe-like. It's a clinic,
bro.
And basketball heads, I know they love watching DeMar DeRozan go to work, because the dude's game literally copy and paste Kobe. And you can kind of see why. You can see he's from Compton. You can see he grew up watching the Lakers. You can see he grew up watching, you know, Afro Kobe, and it's just his game is I love watching it.
I love it. I love that he revived his career in Chicago. He was going through a tough time. His dad passed away. You know, he was going through that, and the Spurs, he didn't thrive in the Spurs system, I guess. And so I'm just happy that he's able to thrive in our city, and to see him, you know, just be who he is and be who he's meant to be. And even winning a championship, like when Toronto won a championship without him, can you imagine the hurt he must have felt? Like, when I left, you know, like, so I'm just happy for him. He's just gone through a lot, and just to see him in a Bulls jersey thriving, I love it.
100%.
He uses like his failures. It seems like he's one of those dudes that uses that for motivation.
You got to
go to that next level.
You got to. What else do you have? You know,
facts.
Dude, you're in the league. Like, this is your dream. Like, you got to use that for motivation. There's no other way.
even everything that was said about him in the offseason for
Right.
him being a worst signing for the Bulls and things of that nature. And he just used that to just,
It
I
just
mean,
shows you
to
people don't know sports.
facts.
People
Hey,
do
it's
So
that
not
Mamba
know what they're
mentality
talking
too.
about.
yeah,
That Mamba mentality. You
Yeah.
just got it.
exactly.
You got
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Anyway, rooting for your Warriors, and
Whoa,
unless
whoa,
they play
whoa.
the Bulls, then
say
I gotta
rooting.
say. But Steph Curry MVP, even though Bruce thinks he's the 34th best player in the league.
MVP.
He's kind of in a slump right now, so
It's a long season though.
yes, it's a long season. We'll see.
Shoot or shoot.
We shall see.
Shoot or
He was
shoot.
like, what? How many points did he have last night? Like 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
It happens.
No, I'm sorry. After
This guy.
that pictures, started
Bruce,
talking.
if I
for
see
some
your
reason.
DMs, it'll probably be like looking and seeing you DMing LeBron. Like, good luck, LeBron. Good luck on your game tonight, LeBron.
If the
I'm
season
sure that's
ended,
what's in your DMs
First
right
of all,
now.
if the season ended right
Wishing
now,
LeBron good luck in every game.
if the season ended right
And
now,
him leaving you on red.
the Lakers would be in the play-in game. I want to say that right now. They're in ninth place in the West.
So
I'm just saying, because we're talking about standings, and
we was talking
Bulls
about
are second,
MVP.
Warriors are second.
You love to see it. You love
We're
to
talking
see
about
it.
Lakers are way
MVPs.
down there.
You forgot. Whatever. How you know my DMs though? How you been in my DMs knowing what I'm sending to LeBron? I'm just checking on his well-being.
I already know.
I mean, apparently, you're his cousin, according to last week. You should call him up so you can get on the show.
Typos, bro. Typos. Typos. He got enough to worry about. Westbrook, Anthony Davis, fragile ass. It's just
trying to get wins. I don't want Anthony Davis in the Bulls no more.
I wanted him.
I don't know if I want you on the Bulls no more.
That dude, man.
Don't come back home.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stay your ass there.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure, Shaw. We appreciate you jumping on.
Yes, thanks for having me, fellas. Yeah. It's always fun. I always have fun doing this.
No doubt.
Yes. Before we end the show, though, we kind of like to have a little segment. And Bruce, I figured out the name of the segment that we used to, the name of the segment that we used to have, but it was called "What You Serving."
Hey, yeah.
And it's a segment that we just give a shout out to something, anything, anyone. It could be a TV show that you're watching. It could be music. It could be sports. It could be life. Anything. If you want to just give a spotlight to something. Shah kind of like threw this on you, so I'll let you think about it for a second. So Bruce, I will have you go first, and I shouldn't let you go first because you make us all look like crap because it's usually heartwarming and
right.
mine is selfish. But go ahead, go first.
I mean, my homegirl, man, it's my sister for real, and I gotta show her love. We've been homies for it seemed like forever, right? And thank you again for coming on our show. We go back and forth because she hates LeBron. I don't want to say hate. Hate is such a strong word. But she really dislikes LeBron. But it's all fun. It's always been fun with us. Shout out to her husband Bryant, who's an underrated basketball player. Like B is really good at basketball.
I played with him a couple times.
You a hooper,
man? Nah, he's a hooper nice. For real though. But yeah, just shout out to my homegirl, my sister Shot. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You B, always
nothing but love, always. So yeah, that's just want to shout her out.
Okay.
Oh wait, okay. Could we just do this? Like if we got a little time, you got to shout out what you're doing with what you got coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be my spotlight. That'll be my spotlight.
Boom. There you go.
Right ahead.
There you go.
I'm setting the table. Go ahead, Shah.
So I'm starting my own skincare line. It's called Level Skin. I'm coming out with a serum. So it's for men and women too, for everybody. So it's coming out in May. Lord willing, coming out in May once the operations. You know what? Making something out of nothing is like crazy. Being creative and doing all this is crazy.
This podcast
shout out to you guys for, being creative and doing something like this. Because once I started doing it with my skincare line, I was like, this is harder than I thought. But so that's what I'm doing, coming out in May.
Awesome.
Be on the lookout at level_skin in Instagram.
There you
So
go.
follow me.
There you go.
Follow my brand.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, go follow her, and then make sure you shoot us the link whenever that drops, and we'll share it on our socials as well.
Thank you guys. Definitely.
Of course. All right, my shout out is to the Chicago Bears, because not for what you're thinking, not because of the new hires or anything, but well, kind of. It's kind of connected. So the Bears have, for the first time in franchise history, a black GM, which is dope.
Right.
They also have a black starting franchise quarterback, which is dope. And if you guys didn't know, they just recently started holding HBCU combines.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's basically black colleges, and they're holding a whole separate combine for these colleges, for these kids to showcase their talent, because they don't get looked at enough.
Facts.
And one of the scouts that are there for the combine is a Chicago Bears scout, which kind of speaks to just the changing mindset of the Bears and just the NFL as a whole. And it's about to be Black History Month. February is coming up, and I just think that that's dope. I think and I think it has a lot to do with Ryan Poles and the fact that he's our first black GM, the fact that he's young, the fact that he's bringing in a fresh mind, and just gets me even more excited.
Be excited, Bears fans.
What's to come for the Bears?
That's dope.
So
that's dope.
We will see what happens. But I'm rooting for your 49ers tonight, even though we have that wager.
Be a good game.
Let's go.
I hope that they win for your sake. But if they lose, I get this, and you get to see Bruce eat very, very hot.
Bruce, you better pull out all of your game day routine.
So at least, Shad, the way you can look at it is
socks you wear, whatever.
Right.
I don't know, walk backwards, forward.
If the Niners do lose, at least next week you'll be able to see something funny and cool and great.
Jesus.
No, I want a dub. I want a dub.
Get that. I don't want to see Bruce eat no hot sauce. We want this 49ers to win.
Hot ass pepper.
Right.
Oh man. Anyway, thank you again, Shah, for joining and taking your time out to joining the show. We want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch us live. And if you didn't watch us live, you're listening to the audio podcast, we appreciate you as well. If you are watching live, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. After you hit subscribe, hit that bell button, because it'll tell you whenever we go live. If you're just listening to us audio podcast wise, make sure you give us a rating, 5 stars, nothing less than that. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Just hit 5 stars.
Hit 5.
Don't have to.
That's it.
You don't have to go into details about how Bruce's voice sounds and.
Whoa, I mean,
stuff.
That's something that you want to put on there.
Or if it's good, put it on there. But anyway, thank you everyone for your support. We appreciate it. And as always, we will talk to y'all next week.
Peace.